Hi, friends. I'm Scott Giles, and welcome to Power Talk, my podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I cover topics related to spirituality, hypno-coaching, and the hypnotic arts and sciences generally. If you want to know more about my professional work, check out my website, which I'll tag at the end of this video. Today, I want to talk about boundaries, about having them, the dangers of not having them, and about how to set or reset them if there's a problem. First, a definition. A boundary is a dividing line, physically, mentally, or emotionally, that you set between yourself and other people or things. It represents a limit. Now, a physical boundary might be a decision that, because I'm concerned about closed head trauma, I'm not going to play a sport that might cause it. So tennis, golf, and baseball are fine, but not football, boxing, or the martial arts. Another example about a physical boundary might be, for a personal example, I was a battered kid. As a result, my boundaries regarding physical contact are probably more rigid than yours are. Growing up, the only reason someone wanted to be close to you was to be able to hurt you. So, as an adult, when someone hugs me unexpectedly, it's not pleasant. Friends know that and give me the space I request, and I always appreciate that. And I recognize that others have different boundaries about physical contact. An emotional boundary might be a decision that I will not tolerate infidelity in an intimate relationship. I might be willing to negotiate anything else and come to a compromise, but not if my partner wants to sleep around. Ditto for shaming, emotional or physical abuse, and so on. A mental boundary might be a decision to make only evidence-based decisions and not to do emotional reasoning, which is where you think that something's wrong if you don't feel good about it. Or it could be a decision not to respond to threats, intimidation, or coercion. In all cases, a boundary sets a limit between you and others, or you and the world. It helps you distinguish who you are separate from other people. If you don't have boundaries, you really will not have a clear and very relatable personality. We all need to be about something. Others should have a sense of what we stand for and stand against. Otherwise, they will lack clarity about our likes, dislikes, moral limits, beliefs, communities, and so on, and nothing good will come from that. Now, as I often say, there is only one creature in creation that can thrive without good boundaries. Even a virus needs a protein shell to set itself apart from its environment. Any idea of what that one unbounded creature is? You're not going to like the answer because it's the cancer cell. Cancer is by its very nature invasive and transgressive. It alone thrives, at least for a time, without good boundaries. Don't be like a cancer cell. Have good boundaries. Think them through. Put them in place. Maintain them by self-reflection and an effort of will. In family systems theory, boundaries are always regarded as good things. When the members of a family or some other relationship system lack clear boundaries that define them, the family is said to be enmeshed, with people inappropriately trying to influence others, strip others of their right responsibilities, and basically show a profound lack of respect. Ditto for organizations. In fact, Murray Bowen, who kind of founded much of family therapy in America, had what he called a scale of differentiation. It went from 0 to 100, but only people like Jesus and Buddha were above 70. The rest of us were assumed to struggle to keep our boundaries clear most of the time. But there's a huge difference between someone who functions at, say, level 40 versus someone who functions at level 5. Now, having good boundaries does not mean being stubborn or unreasonable. It's okay to challenge one's own limits to see if they're still working for us, or to have others do the same in an appropriate way. Asking questions or asking someone to reconsider something is fine. In fact, I'm currently reading a French surrealist essayist, and that reading is making me question some of my mental boundaries. Brothers and sisters, let me assure you, the surrealist movement is strange, but it does make some good points, and I'm better off by thinking through them. But you cannot ethically force someone to change their boundaries if they don't want to. Doing that is failing to respect their selfhood, and nothing good ever comes from that, as I said before. When we see troubled relationships, almost always there are violations of personal boundaries taking place. The abusive partner in a domestic relationship is not respecting the limits of the partner being abused. The overly controlling parent is not respecting the autonomy of the child. The person with rigid spiritual beliefs who shame others who do not agree with them is failing to respect the mental and spiritual boundaries someone else has put into place. Your boundaries can be too rigid or too flexible, and all of that can change over time. All of us should make some basic decisions about where our mental, emotional, and physical boundaries are, and periodically reflect if they continue to serve us well. Therapists tell us that there are some boundary issues with common mental health problems. Someone who suffers from the borderline personality disorder, as an example, tends to encourage others to overstep boundaries and do too much for them. They want others to overfunction with regard to them. Someone who suffers from the narcissistic personality disorder cannot really distinguish where they leave off and others begin. They treat others as if they were extensions of themselves and therefore show no care, respect, or deference. The codependent person tends to underfunction so much that others feel the need to step up and help, over-caring, instead of allowing that person deal with the consequences of their behavior and learning from that. Now, on the other hand, spiritual directors sometimes teach that in carefully controlled circumstances, relaxing boundaries can be good. For example, in intense prayer or meditation, a person might feel the connection between self and others temporarily dissolve and feel connected to all things, and that can be transformative. Sometimes during a romantic encounter or even a sexual encounter, the same thing can occur, and if controlled, can be beneficial. On the other hand, such things are dangerous because people who get swept up in mob rule or groupthink are also doing very much the same thing. There is a fantastic book that I recommend without qualification called The Dance of Anger by Harriet Lerner, Lerner, based on family systems theory, where she teaches that whenever one feels anger, that is your mind telling you that your boundaries have been violated. Now, acting in anger will almost always get you in trouble, but knowing that you are angry is important because it provides an opportunity to inventory your boundaries and see if someone or something needs to be nudged back to the right side of the line, or if you need to reconsider or renegotiate a limit you have set. And that is almost always going to end well. Hey, thank you for your time and attention today. I'll be back next week with another talk on a different subject, and I'd like to invite you to join me. It does help me if you let others know about my videos, so please like, share, and subscribe. If I can be of help to you, feel free to reach out through email, my website, or my Patreon channel. Stay well and stay safe.